Hi everyone, welcome back to the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel and podcast. We are back with a match reaction, a live match reaction to the victory against Everton. Chris, asked you to do it last time. I'm going to ask you to do it again. Can you say those magic words?
Of course, mate. Proudly. We won, you know. Get in.
Get in. Passports ready, tickets booked. We are
all right. Don't get
more
too
than
carried
likely.
away.
Thanks, Matty, for bringing me back down to earth, as always.
It's all right.
Yes, we have just, would you say, demolished Everton?
Second half
game, didn't we? Second half we did, yeah.
Dicking our class it as.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the lineup first of all, Ian, because there were a few changes. There was 3 changes. We had one change that people have been asking for a while, which was Matt Targett coming in for Dan Burn, who apparently was sick. And then we also had Wilson for Isak, and I can't remember the last one.
Miggy for Murphy.
Miggy for Murphy. There we go. Were you shocked to see so many changes?
Not really. I think given that we will be playing three games in a week, I think we're discussed on the preview that there would be some changes. I think we've all talked about Dan Burn recently. Has been found out a little bit. I think he's just looked really, really leggy. And arguably, I would have probably expected maybe his Target to come in for the Southampton game. Obviously, we talked about the atmosphere that it was going to be and how they would start off, and it might have been a bit of a risk to put Target in straight away, but I thought he did quite well. There was maybe once or twice where he got caught out of position a little bit. Thought he did a really good job and kind of showed how I thought he was solid, and that's what he showed sort of last season when he was on loan. So I was quite happy with his performance. Felt a bit harsh on Jacob Murphy given his form, but again, whether that was tactical or whether Murphy was a little bit leggy as well remains to be seen. But I was expecting changes, and like you said sort of before, it's not like we're bringing in the likes of Jeff Hendrick, Kieran Clark for those players. We're bringing in still quality Premier League players. So
absolutely, yeah. Matty, we spoke about this on the match preview. Those first 20 minutes were crucial. We expected Everton to bring the game to us. We expected the crowd to also be on the backs, and we didn't do too badly, did we, in calming that storm?
I don't think so. No, I think we did really well, and it's rare that we make these predictions and we think how the game's going to go, but at the end of the day, football's really unpredictable. It's why we love it. But
yeah.
Sorry, you can probably tell by my voice that I've done a lot of screaming tonight. That was exactly what happened. The first 20 minutes, they really brought it to us. And, this might upset some people, but fucking fair play. Sorry, friggin' fair play to the Everton fans.
You just managed to do 2 swear words in a sentence.
Friggin's
Wait,
not a swear word.
Of course it is.
That's a totally separate podcast, Chris. Anyway, we'll rank swear words some other time. But totally fair play to the Everton fans for creating that cauldron of noise before the game, because it really came through on the telly. It really did. And I think that sort of affected the first 10 minutes. They had all the possession. They really came at us, and we managed to just sort of temper that. The shots on target they had were straight at Nick Pope. No real big chances. But like we said, it was really important to just make sure that they didn't score in the first 20 minutes. And that first half in general, I think Everton had the better of it in terms of time on the ball, in terms of clear-cut opportunities. But thankfully, that one opportunity came and we went 1-0 up. So, yeah, it was a tough first half to get through. And I'm sure we'll get onto it. The fact that we've rode that out, not just rode it out, but scored, and then just built on that is absolutely fantastic and totally symptomatic of the season that we're having right now.
Yeah, Chris, obviously that first half, it was a bit sketchy from both sides. A lot of misplaced passes. Quite a lot from our defence in some pretty dangerous areas. We're getting a bit worried that we were maybe going to, play into Everton's hands and actually gift them a goal early on.
I wouldn't say I was worried because everything we done poorly in that first half, Everton matched it. Every time we lost the ball, they just went and done exactly the same, if not worse. I think it was a game, and I think you lads summed it up perfectly on the match preview that we expected Everton to come out the blocks and come out the traps and absolutely hit us. We knew it was coming. Eddie Howe knew it was coming. That's why the lads just soaked it up, just contained it for a little while. Then, as the game once again, you was mentioned in the preview, that first goal is crucial. Obviously, with us grabbing that first one, then that's just our game to win. Then that's all game plan out the window for Everton. And first off, a bit ropey at times, but I was never concerned, to be honest with you, not once.
Yeah, it's almost like
confidence, mate. That's what that is.
Yeah, I nearly jumped in there and went, "Good for you, Chris. Good for you," because I was concerned.
Yeah, I mean, Everton, they do have players who can hurt. We spoke about them, and I think Matty, you brought it up that if you have Onana starting, that's a big thing, and he did start. Didn't seem to do much though. Didn't seem to get on the ball as much, and I think he got an early booking as well, which maybe's tamed him a little bit. We'll move on to the first goal because it was in the first half. Callum Wilson. Ian, do you want to walk us through that goal?
If I can remember it, I'll try.
There's been so many goals in the last few days, mate.
I think it came from, it was a break in play, and it was the first time sort of we opened the game up. I think it sort of broke, and Miggy got it in sort of the centre of the pitch, and then played it out wide to Target, and then Target played it down like Joe Linton. He's done really, really well. It just shows the confidence he has now of he doesn't stop and go back and pass. He wants to get past players, and he's done well to shift it on his right. He's got a good shot away, and then I think what the pundits were saying is Wilson sort of pulls off that back post, so when it breaks, he's there, and it's sort of a typical fox in the box kind of goal. So I think from that point, it kills the crowd, completely kills the crowd, because they let's face it, they in for the first 20 minutes. Every time we had the ball, they were making it uncomfortable for any sort of little break in decision where it was fouls or throw-ins going against them. It was getting them even more up for it, and I thought that might have an effect on the referee. And I think it did. I think they got a lot of decisions. But again, touching on what we said in the preview, that if you keep Everton quiet first 20 minutes, that'll die down, and that's worked until obviously they then went and scored, but thankfully it was ruled off for offside.
Just to jump in,
so that
jump
came
in,
just
Scott,
before half time. Yeah.
To jump in, I thought that first half display, how Everton started the game and how the game panned out, was so much like Newcastle of old. We've done this so many times where we try our best in the opening minutes at St. James's Park on our previous management. We'll try our hardest. Then as soon as that first goal, we concede that first goal, you know it's game over straight away. And you could tell it in Everton, you could tell it in the fan base. Yeah,
sorry, Chris. It's indicative of a team who's struggling. Look, no matter what you think about Everton or what we think about Everton fans, whatever, it really is symptomatic of a team that's struggling in the bottom 3, bottom 4 of the league. As much as Newcastle are coming to their home and we are, can't believe it, top 4 team at this moment in time.
Top three, Matty. Top three.
Top 3. Sorry, Scott. I stand corrected. But they think if we can make cauldron of noise, we can affect this game, and power to them. They made this cauldron of noise, and I think it was Ian or Roger who said, if we score that first goal in the first 25 minutes, we are shutting them up, and we did. And that's not having a go at them. It's just I've seen, like you've just said, Chris. I've seen that happen in Newcastle when we've been struggling against the Man Uniteds, or the Man United comes to town, or City comes to town. You're like, come on, we're up for this. Yeah. As soon as they score, you have nothing to shout about.
You're just waiting for that moment for that team to click. I know we're focused on Everton here, but you wait for that moment to click. And we thought so many times, Newcastle fans, just thinking, right, all we need is that one victory, and then we'll go on. That victory will never come. It won't. I'm telling you now, it'll not come. And if they could play for the next 2 years, nothing will improve with the way they are right now at a football club.
Well, that's a bold statement, but I'm going to flick back to Scott to ask the next question, but that's a different question for a totally different podcast. That's a bold statement.
It won't change.
We've had a donation come in from Paul. Cheers, Paul. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. He says, "I honestly feel that win was better than the Tottenham match." Do you guys agree?
I can see where he's coming
result
from.
was better. Yeah.
I don't agree. But I would say that because my actual skull nearly fell off my neck when we scored the 4th goal against Spurs. Like, it literally nearly did. Like, it was legit. I thought I was going to go on an ambulance because I got decapitated by disbelief. But it was amazing because of how quick we scored the goals. However, this game tonight felt totally different in terms of its importance because we were going to, like Ian said in the preview, a bear pit. We were going to somewhere where we can't dictate the atmosphere, where we are going to be the away team. And if Everton even come close to scoring the first goal, it's going to be really hard for us to really build our momentum. And we've managed to score the first goal, which was so important. And not only have we scored the first goal, we've scored 4. And that is ridiculous. We've been in that position before where even when we finished 5th, we'd go to Wigan away now for the Red Hot Chili Peppers fans. And we would... well, man, it was pretty good.
No, I liked it, mate. I liked it.
Thank you. But we went away to Wigan and we lost 4-0. And that's what I'm saying. I've seen even successful Newcastle sides of old go to teams that are struggling to stay in the league, and we've got beat. We've went to Everton and we've scored 4. So I can totally get where he's coming from, but I would still give that 6-1 the just a bit more a little bit special.
Well, Chris, just before half time, Everton thought they'd pulled one back with the Calvert-Lewin goal. He was offside, just. When that went in, were you kind of thinking, "Oh, here we go. They're going to try and get back into the second half," and it was probably the worst time to concede?
No. Do you know what it is? Like, I'm so confident in this team. You know, I think one of the stats when we took the lead was Newcastle have won 16 games out of 18 where they've gone ahead in a game. So I can't sit here and say I'm worried because I'm not. Honestly, I've got so much confidence in these lads. We could have went 1-0 down, and I would still be confident that would at least get a point out of it. And honestly, there's nothing in that game, and it sounds ridiculous, but there's nothing that worried us whatsoever. Like, nothing. I was expecting Bruno to get smashed all over the shop, and he did a couple of times, but I thought Everton would have been laying it thick on Bruno, but they were giving him loads of space. I just think, not once did I think that we should basically just sit back here. Nah, just keep on going at teams and put anybody in front of us at the moment, and I'm pretty confident. Like, apart from Man City, I would argue.
Well, I mean, we've only lost once to Man City this season. We've got a point from them at home, so even Man City, we can turn up against, I would say. Obviously, half time came. There were a few poor performances from our side, you would say. Notably, Miggy Almiron looked a bit off the pace. Didn't look like he knew what the game plan was a little bit. And there was also, I don't want to say he didn't have a bad performance, but Kieran Trippier went down with a bit of a bad knee injury, it seemed, and they seemed to be holding out for half time. Luckily, he came back and he saw the rest of the game out, so I'm not going to look too much into that.
I take back my last comment then, Scott. That's what worried us. When Trippier went down, at that point, I was worried a little bit that he might not come back out for the second half. Yeah,
he looked a little jaded. Looked like it hurt his knee. You can normally tell when a player goes down, just their reaction, and that reaction looks like, a player who thinks his season's almost over just because of a challenge. And luckily, he got up. Luckily, it wasn't as bad as he thought. And like I said, he saw the rest of the game out. But we'll move into the second half, Ian. I think Newcastle started very, very lively that second half. They kind of just brushed Everton aside for quite a lot of that time. And then, obviously, the second goal came. I knew you went through the first one, but do you want to talk us through the second one as well?
Which one was the second one? Genuinely, which one was it? Was it Jordan? Oh yes. In fairness, and I don't want to get on anyone's backs after a great performance, I thought Willock was a little bit anonymous in the first half, but second half, completely different player. And that run, it's sort of just around whoever the right back was. I think it was Godfrey, maybe someone else, gets right to the byline. It's a great little chip in. And then Joe Linton, where, again, this just shows the confidence of Joe Linton. Probably, that's what I'd say, even arguably a year ago, even though he had his turn of form then, he probably balloons that or just heads it straight off the turf back into his face. But he's done well to keep composure and then put with 2-0 up, and that's killed the game, because I felt, although that started quite well in the second half compared to the first half, there was maybe a period of maybe about 5 minutes where the crowd started lifting again from, even if it was just crappy decisions. Sorry, Chris. I censored myself there. Like throw-ins, it got the crowd back into it. And I was thinking we're going to go down that road of letting them back in the game, and it's going to be something like a soft penalty will get them back in the game. But like I say, he's done well to keep composure. He's been in the right place. It's nice to see him getting in those positions as well. And it's only 2 more goals until he's in double figures. And I'm like, if I would love a player to get double figures, it's him, because I think he deserves it. But yeah, good goal. I think I've summed that one up all right. Now that I've remembered it.
We'll come to you for the next goal, but before that, obviously there was a chance by Joe Willock just before we scored the third goal, where he's outside the box, back to goal, and he just turns and hits it so sweetly. And I don't know what Jermaine Pickford did. It is
Jermaine Pickford.
I did that last year.
Is he presenting match of the day now? Jermaine Pickford.
I think it's a different Jermaine, isn't it?
No, it's Jordan Genus.
That's who it is. But he gets a hand to it, tips it around the post. But it was a great save, but it was an even better attempt, wasn't it?
Lovely.
Mate, honestly, like when he took that on the volley, obviously he knocks it up for himself and smashes it. I celebrated as he hit that, because I thought that was nestling in the back of the net, and that would have been up there with one of the greatest goals I've ever seen, because it was unbelievable, and it was matched by a save that was absolutely top draw as well. You can tell, as much as Newcastle fans dislike Pickford because of obviously his history and being a Sunderland fan, he's still a top class keeper. Yeah, he really is. Yeah. He's a great keeper, and to pull off that save, and there's a fair few players in front of him as well. It goes through a handful of players. He does unbelievably well. Absolutely class.
Yeah, he does. Unfortunately, he couldn't do anything about Callum Wilson's second, which was a similar sort of strike. I mean, it was more in the top corner than outside, but it was from outside the box, similar sort of area. And Matty, they don't come much sweeter than that, do you? I think even 2 keepers couldn't have saved that one.
I'm probably going to have to do something I've never done on this podcast before.
Be positive.
No, I won't have to be yes, 100%. But I'm going to probably knock this description off to someone else, because I saw the goal, but I didn't get to see who assisted it, the build up, because I've blacked out. I've seen the ball hit the top corner, and I think I've done 6 laps of my entire house.
To be fair, Matty, there's not much of a build up to it. To be honest with you,
it was out. It seemed out of nowhere. It was.
He's actually got the ball, then he plays it off to
I think it's
Wilson.
Was Bruno? He's at one of them.
There's a few of them in that area. There's not a build up. There's not a build up of the goal. Yeah. It's just passing amongst each other.
I literally felt like
out of nowhere.
I was just thinking, okay, we're in a decent position here, and next thing you know, the ball is in the air and it's in the top corner, and I am screaming like a banshee, running around my house, upstairs, downstairs, kitchen, downstairs.
Matty lives in a bungalow, to be fair.
I live in a bungalow and I managed to run upstairs.
Matty run around like Kevin off Home Alone when he realizes he's Home Alone.
My Shan parents left me at home, and I was just going wild, and it was just that was probably obviously it's his best finish, or not probably, it is his best finish of the season. Yeah. But I am just so happy for Callum Wilson in terms of his contribution over the last 3-4 games. The fact that when Isak's finally getting that run of games and he's having this amazing run where he's best minutes per goal other than Erling Haaland, he's scoring some great goals. He's shown why we spent £60 million on him. I think there's a lot of people, not a lot, there is some people out there who are going to pretend that Callum Wilson isn't a fantastic player all of a sudden. There's people out there who have probably, they think, oh, well, we'll get another striker in because Callum Wilson's finished. He's not finished. He's a great striker, and he's proven that over the last 3 games. And if you thought that, you're an idiot. He really has done so well, and he's proved that in sort of in the space of this one game. He's proved he's a fox in the box. He's there to be there to mop up chances, and then he's went and scored screamers. So I'm buzzing for Callum Wilson. Like I said, I only saw the goal once, but I was just so happy for him. And once that third goal went in, even this pessimistic bugger,
fool,
he thought that the game was over. So
that little battle, that I know it's not a battle as such, they're going against each other, but between Isak and Wilson, every time one of those gets a chance, like you said, Matty, they're grasping it. And honestly, Eddie Howe must be rubbing his hands together now, because he's got the ability just to field any one of those and go out and they're going to score 100%. One of them's going to get on the score sheet.
And if you add European competition to that, again, I'm a guy who doesn't want to jinx things, but whatever level that European competition's at, you're probably going to need one other striker. You need one other striker, and that's it. Again, it's a question for a totally different podcast. It's a question for a totally different video, but it's a nice predicament to be in. We all know that Callum Wilson has got his injury issues, and Isak was out for a good chunk of this season with an injury as well. So that means that we probably need to bring someone else in. But if you get another person in, there's 3 strikers. Wow, that'd be a great little predicament for Eddie Howe.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get 3 strikers of equal or better quality as well, who are all vying for that place and who are all taking their chances, sky's the limit. Sky is the limit when you've got strikers who want to score goals and they can score goals.
Do you think Wilson, his form at the minute might be held because we'll have Isak? Because let's face it, he's had to be the number 1 striker. Yeah. And obviously, his injury track record, whereas now Isak's in, there's less pressure on him to perform at 100% every game, which might be...
It's not just that, Ian. Somebody mentioned this on the podcast, and I can't remember who, but it was a comment in by one of the watchers on Monday that said, maybe because Callum Wilson isn't featuring every game, that's why we're getting the best out of him every time he's making an appearance, because obviously he's not getting that run of games where obviously reoccurring injuries and muscle injuries can happen. So that's probably why he's so in form. And he's in form without starting games, if you know what I mean. It's honestly, we've never been in this position before where we've got 2 class strikers that are absolutely killing it at the same time.
I mean, killing it, they certainly did. And Isak, if the game wasn't already over, decided to take it into his own hands and kill it shortly after Wilson's goal, Chris. Ben Arfa-esque run, shall we say, or Isak Ben Arfa, we'll now refer to him as. Could you believe what you were seeing when he got that ball from his own half?
Scott, we should frame that and put it in a museum. That was unbelievable. Honestly, it was unbelievable. It really was. And I think he beat 3-4 players. I think he beats in the end. Yeah. But he beats a couple of them
like 3 times.
Yeah, he keeps on doing it. Then obviously it's that last one. I'm not sure who it is. But they think he's going to come in on the right hand side. But he's I'm just going to stay on the byline. And honestly, obviously he takes a shot, doesn't he? Then it just goes out to Murphy. Yeah. And Murphy's just there to pop it in the back of the net, similar to what he did against Spurs. He's just there just to tuck it in the goal. And Murphy, for me, honestly, he is like a kid in a sweet shop. He's absolutely loving it. He's laughing his tits off when he scores that goal. And obviously he doesn't want to take credit for it, hence why he's pushing Isak to the away fans. Because really, yes, Murphy's put the ball in the back of the net, but that's all Isak. Honestly, we've got such a player on our hands here. And I said it last week, 60 million seems like an absolute steal for the potential that this kid has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Joe Willock must be absolutely forming, because he's went from having the best assist of the season to being knocked off that perch in the space of 4
I'm going to interject, because didn't the shot take a deflect off Everton player or not?
But the run just.
Yeah, but that's not going to be given as an assist. It's a shame. It's a shame. But in terms of official assists, Joe Willock still got that one.
Gary is to piss on the parade again.
Yeah. I'm not pissing on no one's parade. And by the way, the word is urinating, Chris. For YouTube, the word is urinating. But sorry.
Yeah, sorry, go on, Matt, if you want to.
No, I was just saying, I just want to echo what Chris has said about Jacob Murphy. Like, it's amazing to see him doing not so well, but like just scoring goals and just being, like Chris has said, a kid in a candy shop. Like, it's the best way to describe it. He is all of us. Like, I know he's from down south, but he's a lifelong Newcastle United supporter. So he's playing for the team he supported his entire life. And he's scoring goals all of a sudden. He was brought in as this player who Rafa had to sign because he couldn't sign anyone else. Let's face it. He brought him in for £12 million because he couldn't sign anyone else. Couldn't really get him into a system that worked. And then there's so many times that me, you, Chris, Ian have called for him to probably be out the side. And then now Eddie Howe's got his hands on him. It's the next one. It's the next one. We talk about Joe Linton. Yeah. I'm not saying it's the same sort of transformation as him, but again, we talk about players who have changed under Eddie Howe, and he is one of them. He's contributing, he's scoring goals in this little patch. He's working hard, and I just love to see someone who has Newcastle United in their sort of history in their blood doing really well. So again, long may it continue. It's going to keep a smile on my pessimistic face.
I think what's happened as well with Murphy, I think it was probably at the point where 10 years' time, you'd be talking to your mates in the pub and think, I remember Jacob Murphy, remember when he used to play for her. But now, I think he's probably gone in that category of cult hero in the club because there'll be so many moments that you'll remember Murphy's grin in these games and just how much he's enjoying living in the moment, just like us, like Matty said, just being a fan of this football club. His wave, obviously the big grin against Spurs when he hits that tonight when he's just laughing when he's put the ball in the back of the net. Honestly, I think right now he's got that status as a coach.
Imagine that 10 years time, where old cynical buggers in where
some of us already are, Matty.
Well, I am very.
I'm saying me. I'm not talking about
you. But like we're sat there in St James's Park, and a big flag comes up with Jacob Murphy pointing at his watch. How amazing would that be?
Yeah.
How amazing.
We're probably going to get that next season, if I'm being fair. I think the Flags will probably put that on the flag for next season. Just before the Isak goal, I totally forgot. Obviously, Everton did pull one back from a corner, and it was just the corner that went in the back of the net. Totally unexplainable. Should Nick Pope be doing better there, Ian?
I think when you look at his starting position, I don't think he's actually set when the corner's taken. He seems to be sort of on the right-hand side of his goal and then realises, the corner's been taken, rushes across, maybe anticipates there being a touch and there's not, and it just sort of bypasses him. And I would say that's probably the only negative of the second half, really. It's a little bit unfortunate we haven't kept a clean sheet, but I don't want to be negative. At the minute, we are like scoring goals for fun. Some of the goals as well are like a cure for erectile dysfunction. Even like we had two last game. We've had Carlson's today. We've had Isak's run. Like, it's just an absolute pleasure to watch for at the minute. Yep. And then we could have had another absolutely wonderful goal in Fabian Schär's shot, which it's gutted.
I was gutted for him.
It's offside, but it's annoying because it was such a good goal. Very similar to Chiote's against City, where it got ruled out. Although I know that one was
bastard, but
it was a good quality goal. Mm-hmm. But like I say, I think Murphy had another chance as well, so it could have literally been another 6-1. Mm-hmm. And I was just looking. I don't know how many games. I think it's been at least 5 or 6 games where we've scored 3-4 plus goals, which I don't remember ever happening in a season. So we're just mint, really, aren't we? Like, we're actually mint.
Oh, but it's just class.
It's class being a Newcastle fan at the minute. Like, it really is.
There's one more thing I want to touch on, Chris, before we wrap this one up, and that's the penalty shout on Sean Longstaff.
I'm glad you're giving it me, mate, for that.
Yeah, well, I thought maybe you'd have an opinion on it. So
it's a penalty all day long. All day long, that's a penalty. I'm not sure what the referee... In fact, ignore the referee because referee's
look
job.
at it.
Yeah,
VAR didn't even show it, did it? It showed the ball going into the side of the net.
Do you know what it is?
The
the referee's job is pretty pointless at the minute because VAR steps in and obviously overrule anything which he decides in those sort of scenarios. I can't understand how they've looked at that and thought that's not a penalty because Longstaff gets a ball. Yes, he gets a shot away, albeit obviously it wasn't going in.
It's that cross, isn't
it? Yeah. And he gets absolutely clattered.
Scissor tackle?
The challenge
that's where
his
his sort of injury came from.
And I said,
if that's outside the box, it's a free kick.
Of course it is. And I was sat here with Wallace watching the game, and I said, if that's the other side and that's the other end of the field, they give a penalty for that 100% because the home crowd, and they'll play to the home crowd. And I just can't understand how it's another VAR decision. We must be top of the list for these VAR decisions going against us. And I'm not saying there's conspiracy or anything, but I think the fact that we were ahead in the game, I think that had an influence on the decision. It's absolute bullshit. You'll see those challenges get given all season, but I just honestly I can't figure it out. Can't figure it out. And Longstaff, he was hurt after that as well.
Yeah, he was to the point where I think even Kieran Trippier was shouting at both him and
telling him to get off,
bench, to get him off because he was hurting. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. The referee today was absolutely shocking as well.
Shocking, absolutely shocking.
So many late challenges coming in on us where he was waving on, and it felt like, and I don't want to, like I said, it's not time for conspiracies, but it did feel like we were just touching Everton and they were getting a free kick for it. It seemed like a very biased opinion from the referee. But, we're lucky that we're in a position where it's not mattering because we're scoring 4 goals in a game, 5 goals.
This is why they're getting away with
goals
it,
in a game.
This is why the officials are getting away with it because it hasn't had an impact in the points and the direct direction that the points have gone. But for fine well that we would be spitting feathers if Everton had to equalise on the end of that and the game ends in a draw, even a defeat at worst. But honestly, something needs to happen, and Howard Webb was supposed to come in and change things. It probably got worse. Honestly, it's just a horrendous decision after decision, and maybe I'll say it more and focus more on Newcastle because obviously this is our team, and obviously we're going to put things under a spotlight and a magnifying glass. But it's shocking. It really is such bad decisions from the officials, and they should not be getting that decision wrong, despite what the scoreline is.
It's like what I was saying in the group chat. Like it's almost like different thresholds. Like if it's for example, I can't remember what game it was yesterday. Might have been it was the Man City game where I think Partey had already been booked. Literally just wrestled Haaland off the ball. He doesn't have a booking. He gets a yellow card for that. So why does it change it? But it's like I say, if that's outside the box, that's given as a late challenge and a free kick. I just don't get it. One thing I do want to touch on is how well I think Anthony Gordon managed the whole occasion. I think how well Howe managed it as well.
It's helped that there was no Everton fans.
I think it was pretty easy.
But this is what I was sitting watching it with Sophie, and she was saying, "Oh, well, will you not bring Gordon on?" This was when it was 1-0. I was thinking, no, because what Roger was saying, it could add to the atmosphere. He could get on his back.
Roger got it spot on with that opinion, to be fair.
Yeah. And I think it was a sensible time to bring him on when the game's dead and buried. Give him a run out, a little bit of shithousery as well. Love it.
Do you know what he did? He done really well as well.
I thought he did really well.
Do you know what he's done really well? I think the past 3 or 4 games where he's come on, he's actually, picked up the game and brought it to them. Really impressed, and hopefully we can get more out of him, and he can get his start and actually put a performance in for a full 90 or a 70, whatever it is that he will play. Boys, we'll wrap this one up. Does anybody want to add anything before we finish tonight?
I think somebody asked a question to see how much a passport update costs these days.
Yeah, Freddie. I'll tell you, Freddie, because I had to renew mine. It is here. It's blue, so if you're wondering, they are blue now.
They're quite fancy now.
No, he's got one of the Brexit ones.
I've got a Brexit passport. I had to because mine expired, and I would be stuck. Oh man!
Right, somebody screenshot that of Matty's confidence getting his passport out.
Can't wait to go pre-season to Spain. That's America, isn't it? That's America. Talking shit.
Close.
Sorry, talking excrement.
Sorry, Scott.
No worries. Yeah, I think it was like €95 for me to renew my passport. So there you go, Freddie, if you want to know. Obviously, yours will be in pounds and pence, unless something drastic happens in the next few weeks, which it's all
do you know what it is,
possible as
Scott?
well.
Do you know what I want to highlight? Right, every single game that passes by, and every single victory that we get, I think, right, this is ourselves cementing ourselves in that spot for top 4, Champions League, Europa League, what it might be. And I'm impressed as the next one comes, because another victory comes. And let's be honest, we're all confident to a certain degree tonight.
Yeah.
But we've gone out there second half and absolutely steamrolled them. People are getting put in front of them. We're thinking, maybe this will be a tricky one. We'll look at Brentford. We thought that would be the same. Obviously, Spurs coming up to St. James's Park. There's been so many this season. Man U at St. James's Park as well. And I'm shocked by every single one. And I'm happy I'm still in this mould as a Newcastle fan by thinking that maybe it'll drop off soon, because I'm absolutely buzzing when we get a result at the end of the day. And I honestly, I'll come for the rest of my life. I'll remember this season, because this season has been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Up there with the best.
You're totally right. Like, and like, just to add to that, like, it's. I remember going on a sort of tirade a few months back about when we just beat Spurs 2-1 at their place, and thinking, okay, this is huge. Just remember this. This is something that we don't do. This is a situation that we are not regularly in. So just drink it in and love it. The fact that this is now on steroids is crazy. The fact that, like, people have told me that, oh yeah, you're going to qualify for Champions League, and I've told them to shut up. It's not going to happen. But if we get any sort of European football, that'd be great. The fact that we are genuinely in the Champions League race now and sort of favourites for it, if I even dare say that, is absolutely mental. But come hell or high water, come negatives or positives, you really need to soak where we are in now and just realise this is amazing. We haven't spent ridiculous money. We have not spent ridiculous money. No matter what anyone says, we have not spent ridiculous money. We've just brought on Isak off the bench. We started Callum Wilson, a player who's been there under Steve Bruce and scored one predatory goal and one great, fantastic screamer. And this is crazy that we're still in this situation where we've got a squad now that could possibly qualify for the Champions League. But if not, could be Europa League, could be Conference League. It doesn't matter. The fact that we're in the conversation, absolutely amazing. And Sunday's a big game. Hopefully we'll get another 3 points, but always just take stock. That's what I would say to every Newcastle supporter watching this. Just take stock and realize where we've came from in the last 3 years, and realize that we've got this team that tries, and this club that are constantly going to try. And I just think on a Thursday night with the weekend forthcoming, it's a great feeling.
It is. It's a fantastic feeling, and we will pick it up and do it all again on Sunday. As Matty said, we do turn our attention to Southampton. There will be a match preview recorded tomorrow for that. Thanks everyone for watching. Over 400 of yous. If you haven't already done so, please just scroll down from this video and hit the like button, hit the thumbs up. That's all we ask. If you want to become a subscriber, you can do. That button's right next to that thumbs up. It's the big red one. You can't miss it. We are within touching distance of 10,000 subscribers on this channel, and we would love to get to 10,000 subscribers before Newcastle get into Europe. So please scroll down from this video, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when new videos go live, hit the notification bell, and that will also get you those notifications. If you want to go one step further, we do have a membership program. It's $2.99 a month. That gets you early access to some of the pre-recorded videos, as well as access to the Telegram group, which I haven't even looked at yet this evening. So I have no idea how many missed messages, but I'm sure it's in triple figures, if not quadruple. But I'll be checking that after this video. Chris, Matty, Ian, thanks very much for your time, lads. It's been a pleasure. It always is when we win. And do you know what? It's not like we haven't won many this season. I think we've only done 4 where we've had to react to defeats. So it's been a good season all around. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a good night, everybody. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you in the next one. Ta-da.